Welcome to Transformed by Grief. My name is Ellie Thomas, and I am here to guide you on your transformational grief journey. From feeling lost, raw, and brokenhearted, questioning everything in you and around you, to reconnecting to the truth of who you are and the beauty, fulfillment, and vibrancy of life that is still available in you and through you. On this podcast, we explore the depths of what it means to say yes to life again after you've been broken open by pain and grief. We will explore what it means to create a deep, loving, and reverent relationship to yourself, to grief, and to life in a way that allows you to begin to rebuild from the inside out and to create a powerful foundation for a joy-filled, alive feeling and fulfilling life you love. Hey everybody, I am here with a little bonus episode for you. This is a little chat and a meditation that I led at the end of last week on Instagram Live, all around beginning to anchor into presence, beginning to invite presence in, and beginning to understand the importance, the power, the invitation that presence allows us when we are in a transformed by grief journey of any kind. And presence came up as kind of the anchor word for the sanctuary. And at the beginning of every month, we do a long extended body-focused practice. And oftentimes they have themes in the sanctuary. And this time, last week, the beginning of October, it was all about presence. And so I wanted to offer a kind of mini, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, grounding, heart connecting, body connecting practice that is really accessible and easy to use and do over and over, and also give some of the themes that came up during our time doing a longer practice around presence on our opening call of the month in the sanctuary last week, and also as I worked with members one-on-one on that call in mentorship. There were some really powerful and important themes that came up. So here you go. Here's a little 25-minute chat and meditation, and I hope it supports you. I'm adding this as kind of a bonus episode. We will have a really great new episode that comes out this week. I'm really excited to put it out, and that will be out for you on Tuesday. But this is a bonus that I wanted to make sure to offer you as a resource for when you need it. So here you go. Hello. Welcome to a meditation and kind of conversation around presence. Presence is a theme that's been moving through my work this week, and so I wanted to talk about it and connect with it a little bit more with you. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Ellie. I'm a transformational coach and a transformational grief guide. And I am the steward and leader of the Sanctuary membership, where we explore and create community and create holding and connection for people going through the total process of transformation, often caused by a grief or loss journey, pushed into a new realm of being in life by something external to us happening that we did not choose. And in the sanctuary, we call it sacred tending. We tend to all of the layers that might come up on this journey, from the very, very early parts to the parts where you have integrated the experience and are ready to kind of create from a conscious place in your life and step into something new. So we cover a lot of different spaces and realms with the members, and we meet every week. And in a lot of the calls, not all of them, but in a lot of them, I feel a theme arise in the days leading up to it. And this week I had a really clear theme around presence. And it was cool because I had a sense of it. And then once we got onto the call on Wednesday with the members, everything we explored around what came up around presence seemed to be even more like the teachings of it were more clear in what people shared than I could even have imagined. And I wanted to come and share some of those with you. So we really talked about presence as kind of the gateway to connection to life. And presence is trickier than we realize in this, or maybe you do realize it, in this world, day and age. Cultivating presence, bringing present awareness and attention to a specific focus, but also just growing and embodying your own presence takes dedication. It takes a level of mastery. It takes a level of conscious intention. And when we are able to become present, all of a sudden, our connection to life, what we see and feel outside of us and within us, shifts. What's happening doesn't necessarily shift, but our ability to perceive and enjoy and connect with it and learn from it, and to be connected to a greater energy that's alive in us and around us, is amplified. And so it's really cool to play around with a sense, and we'll play around with connecting to presence in a meditation in a moment, but it's really cool to play around with the moments when you feel like you're present and notice what that feels like, what's happening in your body, what's happening in your emotional state, what feels free to arise from within you in expression, what feels like you're drawn, what are you drawn to when you're present? How do you speak differently? How do you move differently? And it's also really cool to compare that to the moments where we're disconnected or not present. And those spots are often automatic. Like they're default modes that are old. We don't necessarily always realize when that happens. So by bringing attention to, I often call it crunchiness, if you've listened to or worked with my stuff before, the sense of like just a lot of focus in the eyes, a lot of intensity with the vision, a lot of mind, head energy happening. And this leads me to the next point, but I won't get there quite yet. But this kind of feeling into what it feels like when we're present and when we're not, what it feels like when we are, well, in my experience, when I'm present, I am more in a calm space to give and receive. I am more able to listen and to hear. I'm more able to connect with the love that exists in me and other emotions as well. And I'll speak to that more in a second too. And I feel like there's more easefulness and there's more invitation to be who I am when I'm present, and to allow myself to be met and seen in that place and in that way. And when I'm not, I can get pretty nearsighted, as they say, or like ultra focused on something. It can be hard to take in or remember what a conversation was or something that happened. I can be seeing and evaluating things from a very critical lens. And so beginning to start to see the contrast between these states is really helpful for any spot in your life, but especially when we're in a place of grief and grieving, or we're in a place of our transformational journey, because a lot of the times in those places, we are catapulted into the head as a place or a sense of trying to find a solution or trying to solve the horrible feelings of loss or grief or pain or sadness or anger or whatever's there. And it can be really hard, if you haven't worked with this before, to allow yourself to sink into presence, because that presence actually allows these big emotions that we have present and these big energies that we're interacting with to arrive and to be felt in the body. And that can be a really scary thing if you haven't done kind of some prep work for allowing that to happen in your life. So that can be really triggering to the nervous system. It can just be really overwhelming. The mind doesn't know what to do with it. And so there can be a lot of desire to just shoot up into the head and to try and control and figure it out instead of just feeling. And usually, as the phrase says, like the way through that and through the process is to open up to that presence and to allow the feeling to arise. And over time, it takes some work and guidance and connection, deep relationship with yourself to know how to move in those moments. But we can't even get there if we're not practicing presence with ourselves, first of all, and then with anything and everything around us. So what I was going to say earlier was that when we're in the head, we can be kind of out of our total experience. The head is a survival space. It is a saving us space. It is a try and figure it out and fix the problem space. It is not necessarily, though, a place that actually helps us move through and move into whatever we're living and then into the next steps of our life. And so in that, we get to understand that presence also is not only connected to how we connect with life, but in order to access that, we often need to allow our presence to shift from our head energy into our heart and body. And the heart is actually the potential, like this is the portal space for presence in my experience. And it was so beautiful. Somebody in the sanctuary this week shared about an experience they had where they really felt really present. And I asked, like, what had happened to allow you to feel that? And she mentioned having heard a podcast that was talking about something that was very near and dear to her. And that was really powerful for her while she was on a drive on her way to this event. And I said, oh yeah, that podcast, like what the topic of that dropped you right into your heart, the profundity of that, the shared and connected experience that you were having there activated and brought you back to this heart and body place. And sometimes when you're driving, I find that that's a little bit easier to do as long as you're not in a really stressed state. And so I loved the mixture of those things for her. I loved that she was able to feel and to notice, like, oh yeah, I was brought back to a heart place just by hearing and resonating, because resonance comes from here. Hearing and resonating was something that really spoke to me and drew me in and helped me kind of align with my greater energy. And so I love this idea that connecting with our heart is our gateway to presence, and presence requires us to connect with our heart and to just have in our awareness that the distractions that can arise in the invitation to presence, if it's through a meditation like this or if it's through something else, those distractions can be safety mechanisms from your system saying like, well, getting present right now would be really scary because there's some big emotions, some big feelings, some big aspects of what I'm living that I don't quite feel safe or ready to be with, or that I'm just really afraid of, because oftentimes deep, big emotion feels scary to our mind. It feels scary to the intellect. Like I said, there's no way to control it. It's this big, overwhelming, massive energy a lot of the time. And there's nothing that we can do from this space to solve it. And so the awareness of simply being distracted and brought back to our headspace is enough to be able to say to ourselves, hey, I know there must be some scary stuff to feel right now, just some big things underneath the surface. But if you are in a safe space and you feel ready and supported in doing so within yourself, or if you're held in a container with somebody else, you can just speak to yourself and say, and it's okay. We can let this distraction release for right now. We can bring our focus inward. We can tend to what's here. And if you don't feel safe or in a space that really supports that process for you, it's absolutely something that you can say, oh yeah, this distraction is really helpful and important right now. And there must be some big things, but I need to carve out that space later on. So It can be really easy when we're living in or with a grief state or in a grief and loss situation or a really low place in your life. It can be easy to move to those distractions constantly because those states automatically feel really unsafe. They are so scary. They are so uncertain. And uncertainty is like the biggest fear provoker of our intellect and of our mind. And so I just want to say that because it can be really natural to, if you're in that space, like bringing presence and connecting with yourself in a state of presence, reconnecting with your heart. While there is more access to that a lot of the time in a grief place, in a grief state, on a transformational grief journey, there's also a lot of fear that can arise. And learning to create a relationship to that fear might be an important part of the journey of welcoming and presence for you. I'll leave that for another live because that is a big part of really allowing what might be in the depths of your being to arise. Like connection to fear and uncertainty is huge. So we'll begin with presence because that will lead us there. And another time we'll come back and talk about that. So let's just do a little practice of noticing and getting into touch with presence and enjoying it and feeling it and seeing what wants to come up. So you can leave your eyes open for a moment if you'd like. I'm just gazing out the window. I have these beautiful trees on the other side of the window. And you can let your gaze gently rest on whatever it feels pleasing to rest on right now. And taking a few breaths with your eyes open. Really bringing awareness to the base of your bum, to your belly, to your heart and chest. Noticing the air go in and out with each breath. And already welcoming in presence, however you want to do that. Maybe there's a big sigh that needs to come out with some noise throughout your mouth. Maybe there's a rolling of the shoulders or a shifting of your body. And just notice what you're hearing. With your eyes open, what's here? If you're to be present to your space, the space that you're in. What do you notice? What do you see? Then when you're ready, if you'd like, you can close your eyes. Closing your eyes is never necessary if you feel more connected with them open. But if you would like to close them, you can. So noticing what your breath feels like now that your eyes have closed, if they have. Letting the breath deepen naturally if it's ready to do that. Beginning to notice the area of your heart space, the energy between your shoulders and on your chest. Just with each breath, relaxing any tension that might be here. And staying with the intention of inviting in presence. What does it feel like in your chest space as you welcome presence in more deeply? What do you hear or sense or begin to feel? If you amplify your attention a little bit larger and greater to also include your belly, your torso, your hips and butt. Notice if there's any emotion that starts to rise as we just come to presence. Whether you understand it or know what it is or not, it might be a sensation in your gut, like something's starting to move, or coming up slowly out through your chest and up through your mouth. It might feel just like tears streaming down your face, or maybe there's thoughts of someone or something beginning to cross the landscape of your mind. Take a moment to notice who you are when you are present. How you feel and respond to yourself from this place. How you feel and respond to anything that's in the room with you. And again, what are you drawn to? And is it the same as before, or is it something different? What needs attention in your inner landscape? Does this presence allow you to tend to? And where does it lead you in your outer landscape? Is there any of that distractive energy that's come up at any moment? Into the mind. And if there has been, that's okay. Just acknowledging it. Taking a breath and letting your breath slowly bring you back to your heart. So this is the part where if you have your eyes closed, you can keep them closed if you want to. I'm going to slowly just lead us into an exit here. And just take a last conscious breath. And invite this presence to come with you in whatever you're doing or wherever you're going. Next. Inviting the fullness of you that's accessible, active, awake, connected, here with you when you're in this place of presence and heart connection to journey forward with you. You can slowly begin to blink your eyes open and maintaining that connection to presence. Just notice what it feels like to be ready to step forward with the rest of your day from this place. Noticing how the lens through which you're seeing might be different now than before. Just with your eyes open, taking a moment to receive any knowings or messages that came through when you were in a eyes closed place, or just really breathing into your heart. Presence is something that we can do meditation to connect with, and over time we just grow into being able to exist and walk in our lives with this present connection and with this energy, as I said at the very beginning, with our own presence developed. So the great thing about this is I just get to say goodbye and you get to continue on with whatever's next for you today and have a really palpable experience of being you in a present state. And how long that lasts, maybe it's threatened by certain things in life, and that's okay. These are all just learnings. And maybe there's like a deep call of, whoa, I need this more. I need to be brought back to this place more. I need to remember this more. I need this guidance and holding more. So if any of those are true, I do work with people one-on-one, and the Sanctuary membership is open and you are welcome to join. Our next call is next Wednesday. We have pretty much always weekly calls on Wednesdays, so I would love to invite you to join us or to explore it if you are curious and want to dive more into stuff like this on your own journey and how it's impacting you, and live into your experience from this beautiful heart place. So I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day, and I'll be back with you soon. Thank you for listening to Transformed by Grief. Please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, and to share it with a loved one that needs this medicine today. If you are ready to deepen into your own Transformed by Grief process, you can join the Sanctuary membership or work with me one-on-one at ellieflow.com. See you soon.